Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Schla. And today is the final long shift for this week. So we will see how this goes moving forward. And yeah, don't really think there's much else to explain. We will talk about how I've been feeling. And I've been feeling surprisingly good is how I would describe how I'm feeling. I obviously have had some major blows and have been through a lot of pain and all that. And it hasn't been fun, but I think at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I feel like I'm going through a lot of growth. That's just what I feel like. I don't think it's been all for nothing, I'm just realizing, like, a lot of stuff. I mean, with how I guess materialistic I can get, it's very silly, because there was such a time where I never even cared about like any of this stuff. I mean, money and all this stuff was just so irrelevant to me, and I just don't really know how it all happened. It's very strange. I mean, I used to, but see, I wasn't happy. But I don't, at the same time, though, maybe I was fine. I've just been inundated and basically just done every single little thing I've wanted to do. And like I said, I think the AirPod Pro 3s really struck a chord with me. It sort of shook me out a little bit and was like, hey, like, this is, you're really happy with where you're at, or something like that, and it just kind of hit pretty hard that, I was just doing, like, I don't know, it was like really happy having the thing I've always wanted, I guess, right? Just headphones that really feel good and work well. Just a really good, nice thing. And it just made me think about that satisfaction and how satisfied I already am with my current phone. I don't know. Don't really know what else to delve into, honestly. It's just... Oh, I actually remember now. I had super random thought today. Like, super duper random thought. But I'm actually very excited for a reality where everybody's thoughts are just public. Where, there is no privacy, and everything everybody thinks is just out there. I'm not at all worried. And I know that may sound a bit crazy, because everybody is, pretty much. Like, I don't really think there's anybody who isn't concerned about a world like that. But I actually really like it. I think it would tear down so many facades that we see and have to interact with and deal with. Like, there's a lot of people who act better than, who would be I think a lot would get revealed, and of course everybody has their own like downside to it. There's certain secrets or things that nobody wants to get out, but I just think humanity would be a lot happier if we were forced to be open, and it wasn't, you didn't have a choice to be secretive. It was like everything was just open and honest, I think it could genuinely be the precipice of something amazing, and I almost feel like nowadays so many of us actually operate in more secrecy or privacy than ever before, and I don't really know how happy that's making us, right? It's pretty interesting to contemplate, because privacy and secrecy is something people take so seriously, and yet I don't think it's really making us happy. Like, I think a lot of people would be happier if everything was just out in the open and there wasn't all these social facades and everything was real and you got to see people's real opinions and hash it out in debates. And then most likely this would lead to people's mind getting changed, people getting judged. As is now, I think a lot of people hold toxic or negative beliefs and they get away with it because they put on some kind of surface level facade and are able to exist within society while not actually living up to society's values or contributing properly. So I think it's so exciting. It's so exciting for somebody who loves talking, and now people can't hide. They can't put up the facade anymore. And as for me, it would make my life and influence a lot easier and more profound, obviously. The mentally chatty and the physically chatty, but actually, I don't know. Do you think some people are physically chatty, but their mind is relatively blank? I guess that's a possibility. But what I mean is, I think for the most part, somebody who is chatty, a chatterbox like myself, has their mind is very active and thus would benefit from this kind of a system. Whereas, again, a lot of people who are more stupid, who are more empty in the mind, would not benefit from it. And I guess they would just walk around seeing people's thoughts. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it would ever happen. That's like the other thing is, I'm not sure that when or if this reality is going to occur. That's an obvious, well, it's a problem for me, but I think it makes a lot of people happy, honestly, to know that it may never happen, but I hope it does. Because here's the thing is, it's all a level playing field, because everybody's skeletons are going to be out of the closet. So it's not like, I think people's comprehension of the world would improve too. Because a lot of times when I talk to people about human behavior, their gauge is pretty far off. Like they may think people act like this or act a certain way, but they don't. I don't, honestly, I think what the issue is I bring up human behavior so much in conversation, but it's not really something anybody thinks about, because I'd imagine most people just think about themselves and then that's about it. Like they're not really going to get into other people or trying to understand other people. I think a lot of people not only don't really want to think and understand themselves, but they also don't really want to understand others. I just think the world would look very different if people had a vested interest in comprehending others. I think people would act very similarly to me pretty much all the time. Now, this is the important distinction. People love to make judgments and assumptions about others, but that's not comprehension. Like, people love to act like they understand other people, but then when it comes to, oh, well, what if your claim's incorrect? And trying to vet and verify that, then it's like too much of a conversation. But people love making quick judgments. People love just making quick judgments and quick assumptions and not needing to be accountable for any of it, not actually needing to have a dialogue. A lot of people just like to keep it really light. And I don't know. I mean, I'm starting to wonder maybe there's not even a problem with that. I mean, I know that I have a lot of depth, and that's who I am, and that's fine. But at the same time, I think I'm at a point in my life where I've realized and I've seen that things have worked out for me when I just don't take things seriously. It's almost like an odd gift. So I'm just trying to not stress that much anymore, because it's not really worth it, either way. Even if that's kind of what my assumption is. My assumption is that we still could just be a few years out from my life changing big time. And I think it's important to think like that. But what else is important is to have the nuance of not getting led on into like thinking that I'm going to be some big YouTube hit and a star, and then, it turns out that doesn't happen, and then like spiraling. Like, it's not even like that. I think people, and it's easy. I think I've already fallen in that might be documented, kind of giving up. And I did. I mean, I was really in a rough patch for a while. Riddled with worry, riddled with anxiety, and of course, it happened. The thing, my hours getting cut. I can't even imagine how good I would feel if I just worked a shift like this every single day. The money I would have and the independence that comes with that, I think, is super important. I'd be able to do everything I think I want and buy everything I want. My life would be essentially complete. So it's very upsetting, but for some reason it's just not really affecting me. And I think it's because in some ways I've realized that all my possessions are actually everything that I've ever wanted or needed. Like, I technically have it all right now, which is a super, I guess, interesting point to make or something. Because it's like, I haven't really been thinking about that, but that's what I realized today. I mean, there's obvious improvements. The Apple Watch Ultra 3 finally has a battery life increase. It would be better. Like, I'd be happier with it. Don't get me wrong. It's an improvement from what I have. But it's like, what I have is good. What I have is amazing. It's a comfortable watch, and I'm just completely happy with it. Like, the battery life's fine. It's not perfectly optimized. I know the newer screen is a little brighter and has even better viewing angles, but none of that stuff's ever an issue. So for the time being, I don't need it. When I had the AirPod Pro 2s for a very long time, I was desperately awaiting the AirPod Pro 3s, and I didn't even know how good they would really be, but they have really impressed me. It's almost like they made them specifically for me. And so now I have that. I don't really know how much the AirPod Pro 4s matter, because I don't know. I mean, they could make them slightly better. Like, it's not perfection yet, but I'm so happy with these. It's like, it's pretty crazy. You know, I'm not thinking about like, oh, like I really need the AirPod Pro 4s or 5s, probably the 5, because you know, I'm not thinking, I don't have those thoughts. I just don't. Like, I'm happy with what I have because it's finally adequate. And then I realized with my phone, it's the same way. That, like, the 16 Pro Max is the first phone I've ever owned where I finally felt like it's good enough. And the 17 Pro Max has a worse material, a worse texture. And, you know, I mean, speed is probably slightly faster. I think the RAM is the main thing that I don't like, because I would love the 12 gigabytes of RAM. The 8 is pretty scrawny, and they're dirty for making it like that, but I can manage. It's just, yeah, I mean, it's not infinitely perfect, but I think 8 gigabytes is a good bare minimum for me. But I think that's about it. Is really the RAM is the main thing. A lot of the other improvements, though, just aren't relevant to me. I don't need better cooling performance. I don't need better battery life. And so, again, the screen being brighter and the anti-reflective, like, that really matters to me. All this stuff matters, but I just don't think it matters that much. And it shouldn't be taking away from the fact that it's like the phone I have is already so good. There's just no reason to do it. I don't know. There's just not a reason. So, like I said, I just want to take a step back and kind of appreciate and process, like, I have everything I've ever wanted right now. I already have it. The desktop I have is stronger than I would have ever imagined. The monitor I have, the Samsung Odyssey Arc, is bigger and better than I ever would have imagined ever having. I told you I kind of was pretty stingy when it came to monitors. I never really had a good monitor. And I have all these amazing things. There's really nothing else I need other than a video card and that mini computer, you know, like the mini Windows laptop, the GPD Pocket 4, which I had an opportunity to get at a very good price, and for some reason I didn't get it, and that's like really frustrating because it was an eBay listing and I just didn't pull the trigger. I hesitated, but that's probably it at this point, you know, and my money should definitely just go towards that instead of being funneled into a new phone that, you know, I mean, the texture is a huge deal for me. The titanium, and even though the more rounded edges are more comfortable on the 17 Pro Max, it almost feels better to have the titanium dig into my skin, if that makes sense. I'm just so happy, like, and that's the thing, like, I just don't know. I don't know. It's almost weird because I made the promise I was going to save money, and then I was just going to break the promise because it's kind of arbitrary and I really wanted this phone. But now it's like these AirPods really completely changed my perspective. I'm just so happy with what I have. Like, why do I, and it doesn't matter. It's not about the money. It's just, it's just continuing to chase and chase and chase. I don't think it makes any sense. What I have already is so great that I just need to stick with it. And there's only like a few things left that I even need. But I don't use, like, I always think about like a regular full-size laptop, but I don't even use that. You know, so the GPD Pocket 4 is really like an endgame product for me. And I'm actually more interested in the GPD Win 5. It's just a shame that the controller buttons are on there, because I'd really want that device just because it has the 128 gigabyte of RAM option just without the buttons, you know? It's very annoying that they have the buttons, but it's possible I could still get it, and we'll just like see. You know, we'll just deal with the buttons. And my money would be much better just going towards that, honestly. But it's really a shame that I didn't end up getting the... It's a shame. I had a very good opportunity to get it on eBay, and I didn't. And that's like been haunting me this whole time, really. It's really been haunting me. So we'll just see how things go, but for the time being, you know, it's just not worth it to be blowing money on stuff. I'm really happy with those AirPods. Wow, I mean, I finally, like, I don't even know. There is a part of me that wonders how much more is needed. Like, I technically don't need to get anything else ever again until... Well, probably, you know, I probably would get the next AirPods whenever they come out, just because, but, you know, until the battery degrades in the phone, then I would just get a new phone, you know, but it's just weird, and it's actually weird how comfortable life can be without... I guess I set so many artificial stresses up for myself, like feeling like I have to be ahead and all these things, but the truth is that that's not really the case anymore, because as far as I know, stuff is fast enough to where I'm not really getting a edge over people. You know? Like, because that was the whole thing, is I wanted to use technology, but, well, I really wanted to use tech and not be behind other people in terms of how fast I could do things. And I needed that latest CPU, but it's getting to the point where that I just doesn't really matter that much anymore. Like, stuff is so fast that it doesn't really make much of a difference. At least not, and especially not on a year-to-year basis. I mean, I don't know that it ever did, but I think it did more so in the past. But now it's like, yeah, I don't know. Although I did see in the speed test, GPT did have some pretty, like, some larger performance bumps from the newer things. So I guess you could make the argument, could really appreciate it. But like I said, I still think it's also about the physical shell, and I really think I would miss the titanium. So yeah, we're just waiting a year. I mean, the other thing is there could be a foldable iPhone next year. That could be something cool for me to look into. It would be a little bit excessive and ridiculous for me to buy this one as is now. And you know what too, I can still appreciate it, because I do. The orange color is very symbolic. I know people are going to call me crazy, but so many things, like, literally feel like they're just revolving around me, and it's to the point where it's eerie and it's strange. Like, even if I don't buy the iPhone, I just cannot get over how they picked orange. And there's a very deep symbolism to that, but I'm not going to explain it yet because, I want to keep some things under wraps for now. And I was just talking about open secrets, and now I'm like still maintaining some secrets, but it's okay. Maybe someday you guys will know. But yeah, the orange color, it's just crazy. It's so crazy. I think the 2 terabyte as well, I really like that. Really like that a lot. But not necessary. It's not. I even the 1 terabyte's not. I think 512 is probably happy for me, but I just love the feeling of having the extra storage, so yeah. It's very good. What I will say though is on like the dream list, it's probably the Razer Blade 18, the MacBook Pro 16, that stuff would be fire. Although the next MacBook Pro, well, that actually would make a lot of sense if I got I don't know if I'm really going to feel like it or have the money to. Well, no, I have the money to. It's just not responsibly. Like, I could buy all the stuff I want, but it wouldn't be a responsible use of money. What I was saying is, that that's kind of the wish list, but I could get whenever they do a redesign on the MacBook Pro, because it's actually been a long time. I think it's been like a lot of years. I'm pretty sure that's due. The MacBook Pros are due for a redesign. Although also at this point, I feel like the MacBook Air is pretty relevant for me because I don't really, well, first of all, I don't even use my current MacBook, so you could make the argument, what's the point? Like, if we want to talk about like the biggest waste of money I think I've ever made, it was on that MacBook, because I never really used it. Like, I thought I was going to use it. It was very exciting to get, but it was so expensive and I don't use it. It was just an M1 Pro MacBook Pro, but it was like the absolute bare bones cheapest. And it's just silly. Like, I don't know why I did that. That's basically the point I got to. I just have no idea, It's like certain decisions you make where I was like thinking about optimizing and all this stuff, and it just didn't matter. And I've done that so many times, especially with computers. So it's all, it's all okay, but it's kind of silly. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, I just don't know. But yeah, the MacBook Pro, I'm saying that, but again, I actually have a MacBook Pro now and literally have zero use for it. So, is it safe to say we should just take that off of the list? Probably. I don't know why I'm even really talking about it, because it's like, I just want so much stuff, but like, I don't even know why I get it, it's just like getting it is what I like, because again, I don't actually have a use for it. Even the Razer Blade 18, I don't think I would use it. So why do I even want it? I just don't think I should be thinking about these things. I guess it's like a security thing to have, because I have a desktop, but I know the desktop is just not, it's not portable, so I don't really like it that much, how it's like stuck. But that's why the GPD Pocket 4 or like one of those like mini laptops makes a lot of sense for me as opposed to an actual laptop, because I would just use it more. So that's really, I think it all goes back to the thing of like, I don't know what I would do with these things. Like, even though I like them and want them, there's just no reason for it. I don't know why do I even want it? Why do I want things that I'm not going to use? That's not, I don't think that's normal, and it's always how I've behaved and operated. So I think I should just breathe. You know what I mean? I think I should just breathe and stop getting so excessively carried away with things. It's just like, because the whole point is I have less money than I could have, and I've just dealt with more stress as a result, and it's not things that make my life better. You know, like the MacBook Pro never mattered. It never made my life any better. Barely ever used it. But it set me back so much money. And same with a lot of my laptops. Like, I just don't get it. You know, it's like very... Why did I do it? And it's caused me so much stress. I mean, there has to be some greater message or something, but everything's just so exciting in my head, and then I have to have it, and that whole process is so addicting. But I think it really is the fantasy, or like, and I have to remember that it's always the thoughts. Like, I don't even like actually doing things. It's very enjoyable to just think and have restraint, and my restraint's been low, so that's really been the problem. But it's important to reflect on these things. I just wanted to make like a dream items list, but I'm realizing it's kind of a silly proposition, because, you know, what good is something that I'm not going to get any use out of? Like, it's just very silly. Well, that just ruined my mile per gallon because I had to stop, put my transmission through a bunch of cycle. Somebody was pulled over, so it was like weird, and then somebody was turning, and then somebody else came out, and I had to stop a little bit more abruptly than usual, but whatever. It's interesting to think about this stuff, though, isn't it? Like, why there's so many things I've done that don't, like, they don't benefit me, they don't matter, they don't improve my life. So why do I need them? Why do I do them? I mean, I guess there's both sides of the argument. Like, on one hand, I genuinely, it didn't matter, like, because I've never ran out of money or anything like that. I still think I always had more money than most people, but for some reason I just indulged in very strange ways, you know, in ways that I just didn't need to. There's probably better ways I could have done things, but I guess my judgment with that kind of stuff is a little bit funky. It just is, for whatever reason. Like, I don't really know. Just a little bit funky. A little bit weird. I actually can't get over. I thought we were going to be a little later, but it looks like we're right around the same time, 34. Oh, but we did less of the pre-recording. So it could have been a little slower because I got stuck at traffic light, and there was also more traffic on the highway than there was last time and stuff like that. So I just kind of thought it wasn't going to work out the same way or something. But yeah, I mean, I'm gaining almost 10 mile per gallon, so it should make a difference, right? Because if we're getting 10 miles per gallon extra for 5 of the commutes each week, yeah, that it should be like an additional day later that I have to get gas. So it's interesting to think about. Although, here we go. There's another am I gonna need to stop like situation. It's just okay, no, I'm fine. But anyways, it's been schla, and now it's time to buy schla. So see ya schla.